Yeah, sorry. I don't know. Every day is different. I'll just show you where I want you to write this, and then I'll put it in the Word document. We're talking about this space right here. No. I don't know. It's a thing that it does. So up in that space I just showed you, I'll just type what I was going to write. What I think I will learn. Don't write it really big because you need room to actually write what you think you'll learn underneath it. Bring it back. I think that was the only thing that was missing. No, what I know. What I already know. So leave yourself a little blank. If you ran out of room, you can put it on the back. It's not a huge deal as long as it's done. Find a space somewhere on the side or something. Yeah, it's not going to be a lot anyway. We're not worrying about those today. I don't anticipate getting all the way done today. I think it's going to be a 2-day affair. Okay? Good? Okay. After we finish, we're going to visit at least part of the second chapter of Light Easy, and then we're going to go back to the homework assignment because it's going to make a whole lot more sense after you've actually read this article, and you can ask questions and we can write down the extra credit if that is something that is on an individual basis. You guys are going to go ahead and just the people who move desks.
Yeah, let me get right by you.
Because they were ready to like congregate around your feet.
Got it. Got it. Well,
You guys can do it. That doesn't mess it up.
is this okay here?
Yes, I don't, whatever works.
No, I mean, you don't have kids gonna be here.
No.
Huh? We'll be able to. Can't hear you.
Set your times Wait, you guys are Alright, I need your eyes and your ears in 3, 2, 1. I have Vivian and Brant. Thank you. Raise your hand if your group decided they wanted to use the cards yesterday along with the script. This one, and that one. Okay, I just can't remember. Okay, that's it. Get started.
Right now.
Remember when you're making predictions, you want to use the title of the article for your predictions.
I don't know. Why don't you call it somebody else?
I think I'll learn the other reasons he wrote the book.
I think we'll learn more about the sewing innovation. I think I'll learn how Percy Jackson found out he was half. Okay, so let's predict and write everything.
What we will argue.
Yeah, well, we know.
Haley's life was changed. Haley's life was changed because of her father's death.
Actually, no. Haley's life has changed for the better.
Better.
I don't know. Yeah.
What she does that works so well is she gives them a script and they each have a job and they have to follow along, like to break down the text with the script that they're following along. They know their jobs. So I want, when they get to, they're all in the preview piece right now, when they get to during reading, if I ask them questions, is it going to pick it up on the camera?
If you stand by me.
If I stand by you, yeah. Because I want to ask them like, what's your job? What are you supposed to do for your, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. But they still need a minute to get there.
Okay. I'm just following all the
Now Jason's profile is about to rise and higher into a new film starring Uma Thurman and Chris Brosnan.
Who wants to wait? Right to Quincy and Quincy. You got sister. Sister. No, I said that earlier.
Do you guys know where you are in your script? Okay. You guys, I'm going to go around and ask you a couple questions real quick. When I ask you, can you speak up when I say?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So can everybody go around and tell me your job?
I'm an announcer.
What does an announcer do?
Like they call on people for like to show like what they know and what they think they will learn and to share what they read and stuff like that.
And what's your job?
I'm the timekeeper and I have to keep track of time during the reading and stuff. So say each one of these we have 6 minutes to read each one of these.
Each one of what? Can you hold it up and show me?
Each one of these.
What's that called?
chunks.
Chunks?
And then I have to, whenever we did these earlier, we only both of them had 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I have to keep track of the time.
Okay.
And when the time's up, then we have to stop.
Okay.
I'm the leader. I gotta like pretty much like tell people what to do and like keep them on track.
Why is it important to have a leader? Why is it important?
Because I'm all up track.
I'm the plunk and gist expert. I asked people if they had any words that they didn't understand or what they read about.
I'm the encourager. I tell people that they do like good jobs. Like they do a good job when they say what they think they will learn and what they already know.
Okay. What's a clunk? Can you tell me what a clunk is?
A clunk is something that we don't understand, like a word that we don't understand.
Okay. How do you fix a clunk? Anybody?
You go back into the chunks and you reread the sentences that the clunk is in.
And if we can't find out what it means, then we go into the dictionary and look it up. But that's our last choice, just in case because if we can find out what it means, then we don't use the dictionary. So.
Okay. What's a gist?
I just like to sum up the whole chunk.
It's basically what
Not
the chunk
just the
means.
specific details, but like some of them.
Okay. So now that we know all of your jobs, and you guys did a great job explaining them, we want to actually hear you doing your jobs, okay? So can everybody find where you are in the script and speak up a little bit loud so we can hear what it sounds like when you're doing your jobs, okay? So, Mr. Thomas, where are we at? Mr. Leader.
So we need to do
Program to do our so you have a minute and 30 seconds to do it.
Who wants to share their content?
Yeah.
For me? What is your clunk?
Topus.
Okay, does anyone know the meaning of the clunk?
I think it's a type of clothing because it says hope and the thing.
Like you see it where it might be a coat or clothes.
Yeah.
It says wearing. The key word is wearing.
Can anyone go back and read the sentence?
I'll read it.
Last year had an interpretal print run of 1.2 million and attract awards of fans who We add books, signs, wearing to.
It might be like a cover to a book or like a piece of clothing.
Yeah, it could be a piece of clothing.
It could be a cover to a book. So can you sign something?
A shirt. It could be because like a keyword is wearing tools. So like I know the type of clothing.
It could be a type of clothing.
It could be a clothing or a cover to a book.
So guys, you guys found a clunk. What was your clunk again?
Togas.
Togas? And what did you infer that togas means?
A piece of clothing or a cover to a book.
How did you figure that out?
Because it says wearing.
Yeah, wearing keyword is wearing.
The keyword wearing in the text help you figure out what togas means? That's great. You're right. That is what a toga is. Good job. Okay. Thinking about one or two per individual, like out of their
All right, I need to pause you for a moment. I need your eyes and ears, please. I have this group. I have that group. Some of you are still confused about clicks, and I know that we just recently introduced those, so it's understandable, but I'm seeing people writing like one word in the click thing. You want it to be something that you relate to in the text, or something that makes you go, oh, I didn't know that. So clicks are either going to be something that you personally can relate to, maybe like you know someone who is like Rick Riordan's son, or you've learned about Greek mythology before and it's making sense to you as you read this. Or it's something you just learned and you're like, ha, you have an aha moment, okay? But some of you are writing something weird in clicks. It doesn't make sense for clicks. So go back and fix it if you did that, and just make sure going forward that you're using the clicks for things you can relate to or things that make you go, oh, okay? That's it.
You're at level 0 without any points. It is at level.
All right, 3, 2.
Okay. Kylan, can you tell me what a click is?
A click is something like when something you didn't know and now you understand more about it, or like something that you didn't understand before and then you finally like understand what it means.
Maybe you're getting click and clunk mixed up. Click is new for y'all, right? Y'all just learned click. So let me ask you a question again, okay? Remember to look at Mr. Lemoyne, okay? What's a clunk?
A clunk is a word you don't know or you've never heard before and you don't know what it means.
Okay. How do you fix a clunk? It's okay. You're okay. Don't be nervous.
Okay, so the CSR questions that I have for you is, what is a click?
A click is something that you can relate to, or something that you see in text, or it's like kind of like an aha moment. Like, let's say you see like a story about a cat, and you have a cat at home. That would be a click, because you know what it means, or it's like something that you just like understand. Like, let's say you're reading a book about Egyptian mummies, and you know a little bit about it, and you see a word, and you're like, oh, I get it. It's like kind of like an aha moment.
And the opposite of a click might be a clunk. How would you describe, or what is the definition of a clunk?
A clunk is something that you don't know or you don't understand. Like, let's say you don't know what the word dyslexia means. You look in the text to to see what it means, or look at anywhere around it just to see what it means and to find it out. It's basically something that you don't know.
Nice. And what about gist?
A gist is like a short summary of like of a chunk.
So we have chunks, we have clicks, we have clunks, and we have gist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So if there is a clunk, how do I fix a clunk?
Like I said earlier, you look into text and you look all around the word and like context and stuff to find out what it means.
Okay. Now, in the group that you were just in, what is your job, or what was your job?
I'm the leader.
And what are some of the responsibilities of a leader?
I make sure everybody stays on task and I help the people who don't understand.
Okay. And were you assigned this position, or did the teacher give you this position, or how did you get to be the leader?
Well, we kind of okay, so whoever wanted a job, like you had grabs for it, and like we all agreed on it. So let's say you went to be the announcer. You would just be like, oh, I want to be an announcer, and if someone didn't agree on it, or someone else wanted a job, like you would see and work it out like that.
Okay. And how do you think what you're doing with CSR, how do you think that helps you with your reading, or helps with everyone's reading, I guess?
It helps everybody understand on a personal level. So in class, you pretty much get a general understanding, but with this, you kind of understand in a deeper way.
How does being in a group help?
Well, it helps everybody interact, and it's a specific one. You just go together, and you just help everybody out. And it's something that you can't really do with a class. You just go work together, and it helps you be more social and effective.
And what is the biggest challenge of being the leader of the group?
I've been pretty good at being a leader. The hardest part is pretty much getting everybody on topic, because I kind of have a chatty group. Like, it's like where we can easily get off track in like a matter of seconds, but it's part of your job, kind of helping everybody stay on task.
In the groups that you were just in, everybody had a job, and your job was what?
It was being timekeeper.
And tell me a little bit. So say my job is a timekeeper, and my job is to...
My job is to keep track of time and tell them how much longer they have until they're done doing their things. Say we're writing a story or something, and I get to tell them whenever we're going to be done. Like I say, if we have 6 minutes to read a clunk or do stuff like that. So.
Why is it important to have a timekeeper?
To keep track of time and making sure that we're not going over too much time to where we can finish it in a good amount of time.
Okay. And how do you keep track of the time? Like, I mean, you don't have a watch on, do you?
No, I usually do bring it, but today I don't have it, and there is a clock behind me, so I can always just look behind me and check what time it is. And I always keep track of the time to make sure that we don't go over how much time that we need.
Now, do you think that having a timed thing when you're writing, does that make people nervous that they only have a certain amount of time?
A little bit, but it's really fine for my group because we do work a little bit fast, so we only have like about 30 more seconds whenever we're done left. So.
And do you think that the more you practice doing this with timing, the easier it gets as you keep going?
Yes, it does. It get easier and easier and easier for me.
All right. A little thumbs up. Thank you, sir. 2.
My job is the gist expert, and I help people come up with the gist or chunks so that we can understand and write the chunk in our own words and be able to read it out loud and share your ideas.
So if I didn't know what a gist was, how would you explain or describe that to me?
I would break down the chunk and help and give you piece by piece, and then let you collect all of your ideas, and there's your gist.
So when you're working in a group, how do you know, like, what are you supposed to do, or when are you supposed to talk? Like, how do you know when it's your turn to be the team leader?
Whenever we're finished writing down either our clicks or clunks and explaining and talking about what we've read, that's when we talk about the gist.
So tell me a little bit about what y'all were reading in there today. What was the gist of it all, I guess?
Today we were reading about how Mr. Reardon wrote the book about his son, Percy Jackson, and how his son has dyslexia and ADHD.
And what is ADHD? What is that?
ADHD is attention deficit hyper.
That's okay.
That's a hard one.
It is a hard one. So do you think working in a group makes it easier than working by yourself?
Yes.
How come? Why do you think that is?
Because you get to share ideas and collaborate with each other.
Collaborate's a good word. Thank you, ma'am. Smile it away. Thank you.
Good job. All right, Lillian, is that your name?
Hi. So tell me what your job was and what your job means you have to do.
I'm a clunk expert, and I help make sure like everybody understands what they're reading. Like if they don't know a word, I help them figure out what the word means so they're not stuck.
Now, how does one become a clunk expert?
You just like, it's not that hard really. You just, if you know a word, they give you like cards and a script to read to help people find out what the words mean. So like, if I didn't know what a word meant, I would like see if anybody knew what it meant, then read the sentence, context clues, the sentence before and after. And like if we've done all those procedures, then we could go to a dictionary to see what the word means.
But in the ideal world, you don't go to a dictionary first, right?
No, sir.
So where do you go first if you're trying to understand what a clunk means?
Well, first, like we would ask everybody in our group, and if nobody knows, we would use like the context clues around the words.
And for people like not smart like you, like me, I'm not smart. What do you mean when you say the context? Like, what does that mean?
Just like the words around it. Like, if you know the words around it, you use those words to help you figure out the word that you don't know.
Can you give an example from the chunk you just read in class? Can you think of one? A clunk that your group had?
We wrote the deficit down on the piece of paper, and so we went through the script, and nobody knew what it meant. Like they figured out little parts of what it meant, so we kept reading sentences and sentences, and then nobody knew what it meant still, so we had to go to the dictionary.
And did you have the word toga in your thing today? Was that in your reading?
That it wasn't our reading, but we didn't think it was a clunk.
Okay.
I mean a clunk, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, clunk expert. We got one more?
I got two. How you doing in that position?
Hi.
You get your pillow?
All right, tell you what. You're going to go right here now, and I'm going to go right here now.
That looks painful.
How about that?
Okay,
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so tell me what your job was and what your job means you have to do. And you look at it right here, okay?
I am the encourager, and what that job does, it kind of keeps the energy up in the group and to where nobody gets off track.
So for instance, like pretend that I'm a person in your group and you're the encourager. What are some of the things that you would either say or do to me or to one of your group members?
So if you were to just say the gist of a paragraph or something, I could just say, good job, or like keep it up or something.
And why is that an important job, you think?
It's an important job because without that, it's just the energy would kind of be low, and it would probably turn boring or like get off track.
So you think you got a good personality to be an encourager?
Yeah.
You think I would be like a discourager?
I don't know.
Yeah. And how did you get to be the encourager? How did you get that job?
Well, at the beginning when we started CSR, there was different jobs, and you would get together with your group and see who wants what job, and I was just sort of fit to be the encourager.
Nice. Two other quick questions for you. Number one, for non-smart people like me, what does CSR even mean? And number two, how long have y'all been working on this?
CSR is when you get together in your groups, and it's just better than reading independently because you have other people's minds instead of just yours to help you out with figuring out what words are or what different things would mean. And what was the other question?
I don't know. That was good though.
How long?
Yeah, how long have y'all been doing this?
Probably since school started.
And have you always been the encourager? Like, do you stay the encourager the whole time, or do y'all switch jobs?
We switched jobs, but we haven't switched yet.
Okay. And you said something about how this is better than working independently, but do you find that working in the group and, you know, looking at context and identifying clunks and chunks and gists and all the rest, do you find that this helps you in your own reading when you're reading independently?
Yeah.
How so?
Because you get used to figuring out what words are, so if you were just reading a book independently and you didn't know what a word was, you would be used to being in the CSR, so you could just like look around at the context clues and know what to do.
You have like CSR mind?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this question.
Yeah, let me ask you one more question real quick. Now, when you're a sixth grader, right? So when you were in fifth grade, did you do this kind of group work, or is this something kind of new to you?
We did do group work, but not CSR. This is different.
And do you think this is something that sixth graders are able to do and that they enjoy it and it kind of gets you to help to know each other and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what's your favorite thing about CSR? You know, give me into it in a sentence.
Being in a group and being able to work with other people instead of working on it all by yourself. And like if you didn't know something, you had other people to help you out.
Too.
So I heard keep looking into camera, okay? So I heard Miss Maldonado say that some groups are using cards and some groups are using the script. What's your group using?
My group is using the cards because...
Wait, hold on, I'm sorry. 3, 2.
Did your group use the cards or Miss Maldonado's script?
My group used the cards preferably because it was a little bit better fitting for our group, because what the script had was like whose turn it was to say what, and the cards, they would be numbered and they would have like, now you do this, and I just thought it was a little bit more organized and more helpful because you could, it was like a little more spaced out and just easier to look at. I know what to do for this kind of thing.
3, 2, talk loud.
My job was the announcer, and what the announcer does is when there is like when people want to answer the question, or like when they want to share what they know or share what the gist or clunk is or click is, I call on them, and like that's basically what I really do. And I don't really know.
Well, that's good. So what is the difference between what an announcer does and what the leader does?
The leader is like they're more important of the job because they keep people on track, and they try to they let the people know when it's their turn to say something, or when it's their turn. Like he lets me know when it's my turn to call on people to share what they know or things like that. And my job is to call on people, and it's not where I just give people a chance to share like what the things they do and stuff like that.
So do you like being the announcer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what if you wanted to be the leader? How would you go about being a leader? Can you change jobs along the way?
Yes, I really like to be the announcer, but the leader is cool too, because I really like to